Hey everybody, this is Betsy Veldman for Paper Tray Ink, and it's time for another Make It Monday. In today's video, I'll be showing you an easy technique for creating pretty stamped backgrounds using embossing and a little bit of Copic coloring to really make the images pop. Okay, so to start off, you'll need to choose a colored cardstock to start off for your front card panel. I am using a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inch piece of Hawaiian Shores cardstock. And then I've also chosen a coordinating Copic marker that is just maybe a shade or so darker than the cardstock color you choose. So I'm using Hawaiian Shores cardstock, and then my marker is a BG13. And you can test that out on a scrap piece of cardstock before you start your project. And then you'll need to choose stamps to stamp your background. I am going to be using the snowflakes from the What the Doodle snowflake set for mine. And then, of course, Versamark ink or an embossing ink of your choice, and some white embossing powder. So I'm going to start off by stamping all kinds of snowflakes from the What the Doodle set onto my cardstock. Before I start, though, I'm going to brush over my cardstock with a bit of cornstarch. It just helps with keeps the embossing powder from sticking where you don't want it to. If you have an embossing buddy, it's the same principle. I seem to have misplaced mine, so a little jar of cornstarch has the same effect. So I'm going to go ahead and just start stamping these snowflakes. You probably aren't going to be able to see my stamping real well until I put the embossing powder on it. Since the Versamark is just a tone-on-tone ink. Okay, so my snowflakes are all stamped and I have them all covered in the embossing powder. So now I can go ahead and just heat that up with my heat tool. Okay, so my stamping and heat embossing is all finished, and then the background is looking pretty good. I want to add a little more depth to the snowflakes though, so I'm going to take my Copic marker, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of outline around the snowflakes. And when you do this, you want to be careful that you really don't touch the embossing powder with the tip of the marker, because it can kind of let off on your marker. But you don't need to be so exact and precise. You can just kind of outline around those shapes with the brush tip of the Copic. So just continue around all of those snowflakes. Doesn't have to be terribly precise or exact. I just like to put kind of a nice firm pressure on the tip of the marker and just drag it around the outside. And you don't have to do all of the snowflakes. You can just do some of the larger ones, or the ones that you want to be a little more prominent. You can leave some of the other ones unoutlined, and so they just kind of float into the background a little more. Okay, so I finished tracing around all of my snowflakes. You can see how now they really just kind of pop out from that background with that little bit of tone-on-tone coloring outlining right behind them. And then you can just stop there and you have a really pretty background that you can finish off your card with. Or you can do one step further and you can take some coordinating ink and an ink blending tool and add even a little more shading, which is what I did in my sample card. So I'm going to be taking some tropical teal ink and an ink blending tool, and I'm going to start at the top of the panel and just blend some ink. And then that gives me even more of some fun shading. So I'm not going to go all the way down the card. I'm going to stop right about there. And then I'm going to take a paper towel and just wipe away the excess ink that collected on top of those embossed snowflakes. Just wipe that off, and so they're nice, clean, bright white snowflakes again. And so then that just adds a little more shading up to the top and kind of an ombre effect in the background as well. And then you can go ahead and finish off your card, of course, however you'd like. I added a die cut word cut from some gold shimmer cardstock using the Sparkle and Shine word dies, and then a little stamped sentiment, which is from the Sparkle and Shine holiday set. And of course, just a few sequins scattered in the background for a little bit of sparkle. So just a pretty quick and easy, pretty simple technique for creating some pretty stamped backgrounds, and I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you find some time to play along this week. This has been Betsy Veldman for Paper Tray Ink.